Wonderful. All right, so we're going to get started. We have a lot of exciting stuff to get in here today. I imagine there's going to be more people who trickle in, and that's okay. But for everybody who's on here, I want to make sure that you have a pen and paper handy. I'm going to have you do several different written exercises. If you have your Goal Crazy Planner, that's great, but I still want you to have something else to write in. If you need to, you can go to the back of the planner. There are those blank note section pages back there. You can use that, but we're going to want to have a decent amount of stuff to write with. How many of you guys did the journaling prompt for today already? Go ahead and put in the chat. Yes, no, gonna do it tonight. Any of those? Will, nice job. Started it. All right. And probably coming up with 10 things might be hard. Not yet. All right, Nancy. You're gonna get it in your inbox. If you signed up for text messaging, you will get it sent to you via text message, and it'll be in our Facebook group. Not yet. Wonderful. How about, out of curiosity, are all you guys in the habit of journaling already, or is this going to be a new habit to form? Journaling on a regular basis. Yes, John, new. Okay. Hey, Elle, very good. Journaling a lot. It's helpful. I'm sure you've recognized that. Michael, new. Okay, journal, but we want to make it more consistent. Sure, there's many other people in here who can relate to that. Valessa, perfect. I'm glad you can hear us. All right, so let's get started here. The first thing I want us to start with, everybody can see my screen, hopefully, right? I want us to start with, how would you rate your current mindset right now? Obviously, that's going to be our focus over these next 30 days, but how would you rate your mindset on a scale of 1 to 10? So go ahead and open up to fresh notebook, whatever you got for today, and I would put today's date. It's kind of fun to document where you are now, where you are at the end of the 30 days, but how would you say you are 1 to 10? 1 being you've got a terrible mindset, you know it's a big problem, you don't know what to do about it. 10 being like, you know what, I've got 100% confidence in my mindset, I'm ready to take on the world. Where are you at? Go ahead and put that in your journal, and then also go ahead and throw it in the chat. I imagine we are all here because we want to improve our mindset. 6, yep. 5, 7, yep. 4, 6. Struggling at recovering from a shattered ankle. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Journal daily, probably a 7. Okay. 5. Very good. Now, underneath your score there in your journal, I want you to answer, what would make it a 10? All right, and here's some questions to think about this. You know, what are some shifts you would like to make over these next 30 days to your mindset? What made you join the challenge? What beliefs would you like to remove? What fears would you like to overcome? Maybe what are some of the new beliefs you'd like to form? And how would you like to change your view of maybe it's yourself, the world, money, relationships, health, your goals, right? Maybe right now you have a very scarcity mindset. You want to shift it to a mindset of abundance. Or maybe right now you have this view of the world that, you know, it seems like everybody's out to get you and nothing works. And you want to shift that to, you know, everything is rigged in your favor. What are some of these beliefs that you want to shift over the next 10 days? So I'm going to put a timer up here for 2 minutes. You don't have to answer all of these questions. The main question I want you to address is, what would make it a 10? What are some of the shifts that would really help you improve that? And I want you to journal that there underneath your current score of where you're at. So I'm going to start a timer and go ahead and do some reflection on that. Yeah, Jennifer, have more confidence in yourself. Yep. Dan, that's really good. Like to overcome the I'm not good enough lie I've believed for decades. Who else can relate to that? You heard that lie go through your head. You're not good enough. I know I've had that for a lot of years. And then you try and prove that you're enough, and it turns into this bad cycle. All right. How are you guys there? Are you pretty good there? Do you need some more time with that? You had enough time to journal some stuff out of your head. Go ahead and put done in the chat. If you need more time, that's okay too. Well, let's say, yeah, I'm sure that, especially with your broken ankle, yeah, there's a lot of that going through your head right now. Done, done. Okay, wonderful. All right, so let me really quick, before we continue on this journey together, I want to cover exactly what we're going to be working on here over these next 30 days. So as you guys already saw, that every day during the next 30 days, you're going to be given a journaling prompt. Now, the journaling, I'm going to say there's two parts to it. The first is the journaling prompt that I provide to you. And the second is going to be an affirmations activity that I'm going to teach you guys today. So that's the first activity that we're going to be doing for the next 30 days, journaling, which there's two parts of that. The second is this daily dreaming exercise that I'm going to be teaching you guys during our workshop here today. One of the things that we're going to be working on a lot is intentionally putting positive thoughts into our head to start to replace lots of the negative thoughts that I'm sure are bouncing around in there. And then after you've done the first two of those, the third activity you're going to do is you're going to make an accountability post in our Facebook group, letting everybody know that you did those activities. So how you're going to do that is you can just go to, like I posted in our Facebook group, the prompt of the day, and you can just say done, or you can put check, 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 like I did all three, or did the journaling, did the dreaming exercise, made the accountability post, whatever you want to do, but something to make sure you're holding yourself accountable. So ideally we'll have it every day, our journaling prompt post, and then in the comments underneath it, check, check, check for yourself. Does that make sense for everybody? Give me a thumbs up or yes in the chat if that makes sense of what you're going to be doing for the next 30 days. Yes, yes. Okay, wonderful. Then obviously we have our workshop here today. There's going to be 4 live workshops. We're going to have one after today. They're going to start being on Thursdays. So we're going to be on Thursday, the 18th, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Check your time zone. Thursday, the 25th. On Thursday, February 1st, I'm actually going to be out of town. So for that week, you're just going to have a recorded session. But then on it'll be technically day 31. We're going to have our 4th workshop, our last one to wrap it up. So you'll still have 4 live sessions throughout it. So if you haven't added those to your calendar, you can screenshot this really quick right now or quickly write it down. They're also in your training area so that you can make sure you have those in your calendar. And if you're not able to make it, they will all be recorded and put in your training area. But obviously, it's a lot more powerful if you can make it to the live ones. Really, to get the most out of it, I would say showing up on the live ones, engaging in our Facebook group, because just like we've already probably seen here in this workshop so far, lots of the struggles that you have going on, other people have them. And I think it's going to be really powerful to see we all have these same thoughts. Like how many people could already relate to the thought that Dan brought up of this lie going through your head that you're not enough, right? And when we can just identify it for what it is, it's a lie and it's something that we all struggle with. It's a lot easier to overcome it because we don't feel alone with it and feel like it's the truth then. And then obviously stay committed. All right. So kind of the whole idea of why focusing on our mindset is so powerful is, let me move some of these little pop-ups out of my way. So this is kind of how things are going to work as we're working towards our goals, right? Whenever we set a goal, we have this goal, we have our targets, and we always take actions towards our goals, right? If we want to hit a new goal or a new target, it would be illogical to think that we can take the same actions and go start hitting new targets, right? If we want to hit new targets, we obviously have to take new actions. We need new habits. We need new behaviors. However, most people with their goal setting, they only focus on these two levels, actions in their goals. And maybe if in the past you've set some goals for yourself and maybe you broke them down into really clear plans to accomplish them, but you weren't able to actually follow through and make them happen, it's often because you were staying focused only on this actions and goals level and you weren't going to the deeper level of you, right? Similar to, it would be illogical to think you can hit new goals by taking the same actions. If we don't make changes to you, be illogical to think we can just have you, the same person, and all of a sudden have you start going out and making drastically different actions in your life, right? We need to make changes to you, to your mindset, to your beliefs, to the type of thoughts that you have. And when we make those changes, then you're able to, the next level of actions will be much more natural and easy and apparent to go take the level of actions you need to hit those new goals. Okay. And maybe you've had in the past where you did set goals and you took the right actions. And sometimes you might have a coach or a mentor, or, you took the right actions and you hit some next level goals one time. But if you don't actually make that underlying change to you, you find that you end up recreating these similar problems again in your life, right? Where it's like maybe one time somebody helps you through it or you got lucky, you took the right actions, but you still weren't able to make a lasting breakthrough to the next level. It's because you didn't do that deeper work of changing you. So that's really what we're going to be focusing on during this, is figuring out, okay, what's going on with me? Mainly, we're going to be focused on what are the habitual ways of thinking, right? What is my mindset? What are my beliefs around this? And let me go to my next slide here. So we want to change our habitual ways of thinking, because just like any other habit that you have in your life, maybe you pick up your pen with your right hand, or you get in your car and you grab the seatbelt and you put it on, right? Those are all physical habits that we have with our body. But our mind creates habits in the same way. If I were to get in my car every morning, and every morning on my drive to work, I started to think about a coworker who makes me really mad, right? If I did that every day, eventually it would become a habit where I would get into my car and maybe I'd be thinking about something else before, but I would stop thinking about that and start thinking about how angry my coworker makes me, right? It would become a habitual way of thinking. And similar, we might see certain types of opportunities in our world where it's like, oh, here's somebody buying rental properties. And out of just our habitual way of thinking, we think, but I could never do that. Or I'll never be rich enough to do that. And it's like, why? Right? Why do we have these habitual ways of thinking that are getting in the way of our goals? So just like any other habit in our external world, right? How do we overcome a bad habit? Go ahead and put this in the chat. How do we overcome a bad habit? We don't just remove the bad habit. What do we need to do if we want to overcome a bad habit? Anybody heard this? Maybe read Atomic Habits or some of those other habit books? Exactly. We need to replace it with something else. Yes, thank you, man. Thank you, Will. We need to replace it. So similar to that, when we want to have better ways of thinking, we can't just remove the negative thoughts. We also need to replace them with better ways of thinking. And I found this stat on Google. Well, it came from peakdynamics.net. But according to research, the average person has over 60,000 thoughts per day, and 75% of those thoughts are negative. And what's really crazy is 95% of them are repetitive. Now, if you actually go read the study, what they mean by repetitive is that they're the exact same as they were the day before. Isn't that crazy? 95% of people's thoughts are the exact same as they were the day before. So if we're trying to make really big changes in our life, and all we're doing is making changes to this 5% that's not the same as it was yesterday, it's going to be really hard to make those changes because we have 95% of our mind that's either staying the same or 75% is actually moving against us. Okay, kind of just to give you an analogy to imagine this, let's say you set this goal. And I want you to imagine your goal as like this really strong Mustang horse, okay? And he's got a destination, he's trying to go there. But attached to that horse, you have 75 of these mules, right? These negative mules that are pulling you the other way. No matter how strong that goal is, that Mustang steed, it's not going to be able to pull the 75 other mules that are going the other way. And they don't even have to be going the other way. They could just be sitting there. That horse isn't going to go, right? It's like we need to start pulling these negative things up and flipping them, because otherwise we have so much of our subconscious mind working against us. All right. And that's really what we're going to be focusing on doing over these next handful of days. So, well, really quick before I get into that, we all have these habitual ways of thinking. And because 75% of them are negative, most of our thoughts are filled with really negative things. And we want to obviously flip that to more of positive things. So just to kind of give yourself maybe a second to analyze where you're at, I want you to ask yourself, and maybe journal this there in your journal that you have going for our session here today. How often do you dream? How often do you just dream about the type of life that you would like to have? It could be setting goals or looking at your vision board, but just dreaming about the type of life you would have. Who wants to put that in the chat? How often? Do you do that daily? Is it once a year at the beginning of the year, you take a day and dream about what's to come? How often do you do that? Anybody want to share? Anybody feel like they take time to dream daily, weekly? It's good, Dan. Quarterly? Very good. Okay, only think about winning the lottery. Hey, that's not a bad dream, but we can get some other dreams too. Hey, I like it. Living in a cabin with sauna, very fun. Now I want you to ask yourself, how often do you worry? Do you worry daily? Do you worry just quarterly? Do you worry hourly? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Rarely, very good. Sandy, every day, all the time. Yeah, a few times per week, multiple times per day, daily at the moment. Yep. So just like that statistic showed, right? It's not like hard to realize that we have 75% of our thoughts are negative, right? People are worrying about things all the time, some more than others. I'm sure we all know people who worry all the time throughout the day. Okay, you fret about the things you're not doing. Yeah. Sacrifice it to say a lot. Yeah. So I think why it's really important to dream is when we don't have dreams of where we want to go, we lose a sense of purpose. Okay, when we don't have an internal sense of purpose that's drawing us forward, it's really hard to have meaningful goals. You can still have goals without a big sense of purpose, but as far as having meaningful goals, it's hard to do that. And when we don't have those meaningful goals, we get stuck in what I'm going to call survival mode, where it seems like everything is just urgent. It seems like I'm hopping from one emergency to the next, right? We don't have this long-term dream plan that we're working on. It's just like we're focused on the very short term, right? What's right in front of me. We're in the state of survival mode. Can anybody relate to that feeling of being in survival mode? Maybe. Put it there in the chat. Oh, yes. Yep. Yeah, been there since your accident. Yep. And I think it's really important when we're dreaming, we want to set goals that, like I brought up earlier, that bring us a sense of purpose. We want to have dreams that we have this internal motivation that draws us forward. And we're going to be doing a dream setting activity here today, but I like to kind of put dreams, yep, Jennifer, I'm sure that made it hard, right? Survival mode. But I like to kind of break them into, you can have winning or not losing dreams. And you can throw in the chat, do you think is there a difference between winning and not losing? Is there a difference between winning and not losing? If I ask a friend, hey, how did the game go yesterday? And he says, oh, well, we didn't lose, right? Or if your coach told you before you're going to go out for, you're at your halftime pep talk, and he's like, just don't go out there and lose. We don't want to lose today. It's not very motivating, right? And I think lots of times when people are developing dreams for themselves or when they're setting goals, is they set these what I'm going to call not losing goals or dreams, where they look at their life and they find an area where they feel like they're currently losing. and they set this goal to say, I'm not going to lose in this area of my life anymore. And they have this not losing goal. And the problem with that is there's not a lot of natural motivation to want to work towards a not losing goal, right? Because the goal itself is almost an affirmation that you're losing in that area of life, right? Like you have this goal, I don't want to lose. I'm not going to lose in this area of life anymore. It's just a reminder that you're currently losing in that area of your life. Versus when we set winning goals, hey, what would it look like to win in this area of your life? What would it look like to win? What are your dreams? What would it look like to win? What would it just be fun to do? Not to try and, I need to do this to prove to others that I'm enough, right? Dan, that was a great example you brought up earlier, that thought going through your head, right? If we have these dreams that are all around, I want to be able to prove to others I'm enough, it's just a constant reminder that you don't feel like you're enough right now. Versus what if we just, let those judgments of other people aside and like, what would it be to win? What would be fun for me to do? What would I just enjoy doing? What would be natural? So we're going to be setting some dreams. Let me see if that's what I have next. And when we're going to write out our dreams are very different from goals. When we set goals, we want them to be realistic. We want them to be time bound, right? There's these things that help us create good goals, but dreams are a little bit different. When we dream, we want to give ourselves permission to just dream without limits. They don't need to be realistic. They are things that you may or may not actually do. The example I have in the Goal Crazy Plan I know is like they could be as unrealistic as wanting to own a house in every single state to as realistic as owning your first home. Both are great dreams. Just we're going to write them both down, and then you can use them later to sort it out and find which are going to be your goals. Specifically, our dreams do not need to be time bound. Oftentimes, if we try and put a time bound onto our dreams, our mind then wants to go into figure it out mode, where it's like, okay, I need to pivot my business this way so I can do that. Or if I start dedicating this much time to accomplish it, it's when we're dreaming, we don't need to do any of that. We don't need to figure out how we're going to achieve it. It's just, we're just giving ourselves permission to just dream. There are things that we may or may not actually do. It can be completely unlimited. So we're going to do this for a little bit, and then I think you'll see, and I'm going to explain to you the importance of how this is going to help you improve your mindset over these next 30 days. But I'm going to put a timer up here for 4 minutes. And here's some questions I want you to journal on. Try and get through this as much as you can. And if we need to, I can add more time to this. But what have you always wanted to do, but never pursued? And again, because you're putting it on your dream list doesn't mean you have to go out and do it. We're just giving ourselves permission to dream, okay? What are some dreams you've buried away? What would be impossible, but fun to do anyways? What would be really fun to do? How would you love to help others? How would you like to impact the world? What would you like to provide to others? Who would you like to share these experiences with? What would your dream life look like? What would your dream version of what would the dream version of yourself be like? Right? Not just dreaming about your external world, but your internal world. What does the dream you look like? What would you love to experience? What do you dream of achieving? So I'm going to put a timer up here for 4 minutes. And in your journal there, I want you to journal on these various questions. And when you're done, go ahead and put done in the chat. We'll start with 4 minutes. All right. If you're done, go ahead and put done in the chat. If you could use some more time, go ahead and put that in there. Maybe we need a couple more minutes. Done. More time. Done. Well, let's do up here. Let's do another minute and 10 seconds, and then we'll keep going on. If you've already finished, challenge yourself to maybe add a couple more things on there. All right. So if you still are working on this, you can come back to this later, but we'll keep moving on. So you've got your dream list. And anybody want to share in there? Does anybody else, I know you have a written dream list in your Goal Crazy Planner, but do you guys normally journal your dreams? This is your first time journaling some of these things down, or is this something that you've done in the past? First time. How does it feel to put these things on paper? Does it feel refreshing? Is it clarifying, insightful? Does it bring excitement? Does it feel heavy? First time, very good. Exciting. Yeah, just give yourself permission to, I can just dream, right? You probably did it a whole bunch as a little kid. You just dreamed. You didn't put pressure on yourself like, oh my goodness, if I think about this, then I need to do it, right? Yeah, exercise. Wonderful. All right, so exciting and a bit heavy. Yep. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to look through your list, and I want you to identify one of them that would bring you maybe the most excitement, or would be maybe the most fun to do, would be the most fulfilling. Choose one of them, and we're going to do an exercise with it. So try and choose one of them that I would say would be the most fun to do, or most fulfilling. And go ahead and put "got it" in the chat or something when you've got one identified. And it could be, maybe some of them are very intertwined together. So there could be some that are, it might be more than one, but I would have a dominant one they want to think about. Got it. All right. Wonderful. So what we're going to do is we're going to do like a guided visualization. And are all you guys familiar with the whole concept of visualization, right? It's a practice used by athletes, CEOs, high achievers, where they're envisioning in their head themselves doing something. And just like we talked about earlier, how we have all these thoughts that are bouncing around in our head, we're just taking time to intentionally put thoughts in there that we want. So what I'm going to have you do is go ahead and sit back in your chair. You're going to close your eyes, sit back, get comfortable, close your eyes, and go ahead and take a deep breath in. Let it out. Take another deep breath in. Let it out. And I want you to envision that you've accomplished that dream, that you're experiencing that dream. And I want you to look around. Where are you at when you see yourself accomplishing that? Are you outside? Are you at your house? Are you at someone's house? Are you at a dream house? Who are you with? Are there other people that are there? Are you alone? What are some of the things you see? What are some of the things you hear? And what would it feel like to have accomplished this? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? And again, I want you to let go of any of the feelings. I have to figure out how to do this. So just dreaming. What does it feel like to have experienced that in your imagination? Are you talking to others? Are you listening to them? If you're talking to them, what are you guys talking about? What type of thoughts would that version of yourself have going through their head? Would they have a lot of thoughts bouncing around in their head? Would they have few? Would they be thinking about what's next? Would they just be present in the moment? How would they be making other people feel? Would they be teaching them? Would they be inspiring them? Would they be helping them, loving them? I want you to just let this scenario play out for a minute in your head. The things that would be going on as you're accomplishing this. Here in I'm gonna go ahead and take one last look around this visualization in your head. And I want you to almost take a snapshot of it. I'm going to count down from 3, and we're all going to come on back. 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes. Come on back. How did it feel to do something like that? Have any of you guys done anything like that before? Or is that your first time ever slowing down and just experiencing something in your head of one of your dreams? Very long time ago. So calm. Yeah. First time. Yeah, it's pretty crazy how we can experience, even probably notice you breathe different, right? How would you breathe after you've accomplished something like that, right? And you're breathing different than just you are at your normal pace. And what I like to think of as we do these is we're almost creating like a mental movie is how I like to think of it, right? It's like you took that mental snapshot, and in a second, you can think back really quick to, oh yeah, I created that little quick mental movie. Here's a little snapshot of it. John, very good. You got an app that helps you do it? Yeah, that's really helpful. And so one of our daily activities that I'm going to have you do is I want you to take time every day for dreaming. Now, it can be something similar to this, where you're closing your eyes and you're playing out one of your dreams, where it's unlimited. You don't have to try and figure out how you're going to get there. You're not going to have to try and it's not time bound. It's just you're just dreaming for the sake of dreaming. And we're filling our mind with something positive. And at first, this might seem like, okay, this is kind of a goofy exercise. Why am I doing this? But I will tell you that most people are always doing this with things that they don't want, right? How often do people worry and play out in their head these situations of terrible things that they don't want to have happen in their head or in their life, right? It's like, well, what if my spouse dies and I'm on a plane when it happens, and then our kids, and they play out these things, and it's like, why? Why are you filling your head with all this negative stuff, right? And if we're going to do it, why don't we put things that we intentionally want to have happen? Because the reality is everything that's in our society, everything that's in our world was at first somebody's dream, right? This Zoom call, the internet, airplanes, right? Somebody dreamed about that. And they didn't just bury that dream down. They let it play out in their head again and again until eventually they believed that it could happen, and they actually started to take actions towards it. So I think it's really powerful if you commit to doing this every single day, and it can look like you're closing your eyes and visualizing something, or a lot of times I just put on my headphones and I play some music I like and pace around in my basement. And yeah, that might sound hokey, might sound kind of weird. I know that, right? But guess what? Like, my dreams are worth it to me. I want to be investing my time, my energy, my thoughts into my dreams rather than just filling my mind with more clutter. And one of the main things I really, well, you have this as one of the challenges as part of these 30 days is you're going to do your journaling, but you're going to take time every day for dreaming. And I would aim for 10 minutes of dedicated dreaming time. It could be as you're mowing the lawn or in the car, you're going to take this time to dream. But I would say more ideally, it's not when you're doing something else, and it's dedicated time to dream. Your eyes can be open, your eyes can be closed. Like I said, a lot of times I like to just put on some music that inspires me, pace around in my basement, and just think about my dream life. I don't have to figure out how I'm going to get there or if I'm going to get there. I just dream. And when you commit to this for 30 days, you will find how powerful it is. If you're somewhere in your life right now where it's like, you know what, maybe I want to be taking my life in a slightly new direction. I want to pivot in a little bit of a way. You're going to start to see how this just starts to bring clarity of what would be fun to do, what would be easy, what just feels light to do, what would be, do I have this natural desire, internal fire that's leading me in this way? And it brings clarity to that. Or maybe you're somewhere in your life where it's like, look, I've been really stagnant for a while and I know I want to do something new. It's like, this is going to help you bring clarity on like, what should this next thing be like? And maybe you have a life that you love right now, but you're trying to take it further. This is going to help drive you there. And it's so much of a more natural way where you're letting these wonderful feelings of love and desire that's inside of your heart just come out rather than figuring out, where am I losing in my life right now? And how do I be not a loser, right? Or what would make other people think I'm good enough, right? Like those are not very inspiring directives for our dreams. So I'm completely confident that if you commit to this, you will start to see how it brings clarity to what you should be working on next. And it's going to really change how you think, because you're going to start to view the world different. You're going to start to view it as a place where your dreams can happen. There's a lot more opportunity, because all of you guys, I'm sure, experience when you were dreaming, you don't normally dream about a world where everybody's out to get you, right? It's like we create this world and it starts to change the way we view the reality that we're in. So that's going to be, one of the activities that you're going to be doing every day. But I also mentioned how the journaling portion of this, there's two parts. There's answering the journaling prompts, but there's also going to be writing affirmations. And we're going to talk about affirmations for a little bit, because have any of you guys used affirmations consistently in the past? You wouldn't put that in the chat. Are you familiar with what an affirmation is, the whole idea behind it? Yes. Wonderful. Negative, okay. This will be a good place to start then. Yep. So affirmations, there's a whole bunch of books where an affirmation is essentially we're going to create a positive statement and we're going to create a thought that we intentionally want to put into our head. Every morning with Go Crazy, Levitan, yep, do your affirmations every day. Try to do them daily, yep. So one of my favorite books, and I might even just put this here in your training area, but it's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And actually, it's only like 25-minute audiobook, and I found it free. There's a whole bunch of them just free on YouTube. So I might even put a link here with this recording so you guys can watch that. It's 25 minutes. I'd highly recommend it. But one of the main things he talks about in there, and I would say this is a common theme with lots of self-help books if you've started to go down that rabbit hole, but we become what we think about. If I'm constantly thinking about how I'm going to mess things up, I'm going to become that. If I'm constantly thinking about how I'm going to become the next manager in my position, you're going to likely create that. And I'm sure you've also seen this within your own life, where there's things that you've thought about a whole bunch, and all of a sudden, somehow, the right circumstances comes where you're able to experience it. Has anybody ever had that where it's like, oh, I've got a daydream, maybe it was a good thing, maybe it was a bad thing that you had played out in your head a number of times for one reason or another, and somehow it happened, right? We become what we think about. And similar to when I was talking about our dreams, everything first starts as a thought. So I need to envision the type of person that I want to become, and then I can actually start to move myself towards it. And we need to force these new thoughts into our head, because right now we probably have lots of negative thoughts. And I like to think of our affirmations almost like little arrows that I shoot down those negative thoughts with, right? We want to be replacing our bad habits with our bad thoughts with our better ones. Yeah, what you focus on expands. Yeah, I think Tony Robbins, right? That's one of his like big things. What you focus on grows. If you focus on, and it's crazy how it happens. Somebody I was talking to not too long ago, I just started getting into fountain pens. I don't know if any of you guys are into fountain pens, but it's like I had never heard of fountain pens until like 2 months ago. And now I've gotten a handful of them and all the little ink bottles and the fun things. But since then, I've met like 3 people who are also into fountain pens. And it's just like, I've never seen it in my life before, but now I'm meeting people who have a collection of fountain pens and they have like inks that are their favorite. And I'm sure you've seen this within your life, but yes, what you focus on grows. But so just so you can kind of experience how this works is I'm going to have you say a couple affirmations with me out loud. So maybe you're in a great setting for this, maybe you're not, but I want you to say with me, I love my life. Say it out loud. I love my life. I love myself. Say it with me. I love myself. This year, I will change someone's life for the better. This year, I will change someone's life for the better. I am happy. I am happy with myself. I am happy with my life. After you say some of those things, go ahead and put in the chat. Can you notice a small shift in how you feel after saying out loud, I feel happy, or I love myself, I love my life? Anybody want to put in the chat? Do you notice a small shift? You feel happier, right? I'm happy. I love my life. All of a sudden, your mind starts to like focus on why you would love your life. Yeah, you feel yourself smiling. Yeah, there's energy to it, right? It's like we can kind of tune into whatever we want. Similarly, if you say, I hate my life, your mind's going to focus on all the reasons why you should hate your life. But it's like if I intentionally say, I love my life, it wants to go find reasons to draw that to you. Feel little butterflies in your stomach. Yeah, and you're smiling, right? Because the reality is, similar with our dreams, people are constantly saying affirmations to themselves all the time. It's just most of them are really negative. They're constantly saying to themselves like, oh, I always mess things like this up. Or, oh, I always take things too far. Or, oh, I could never do that. Right? It's like those are terrible affirmations. Right? I'm not here trying to convince you to do something entirely new. I'm saying, look, this is already happening in your head. Right? Maybe you're constantly having these thoughts, well, I'm not enough. Or, oh, I'm not quite as smart as that guy. Right? It's like these are the affirmations going through your head. Let's just, instead of letting those ones play on autoplay, we start putting better ones in there. So this next thing that we're going to do together is we're going to create some affirmations. We're going to have a lot more guidance on this in one of our other workshops. I'll probably make this more of the theme. But you can say your affirmation can be any way you want. There's no magic, perfect formula to it. It's something that's going to inspire you to be working towards the life that you want, becoming the person that you want to become. But I think some of the best ones are something that starts with I. I am, I will, I love, right? I love my life. I love my business, right? I am successful. I am full of energy, right? These things that it really draws you. It comes from an internal place. However, if you're using the word I would avoid saying I wish or I want. Because just like I mentioned earlier, the whole concept of affirmations is we become what we think about. So if I'm saying to myself again and again, I want a bigger house. I want a bigger house. What I am creating is a version of me who wants a bigger house. He doesn't have it. He just wants it, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't, this isn't a place to say I want or I wish. This is I will, right? I will have a bigger house, or I'm loving my bigger house. I'm somebody who can have a big house, right? But not I wish or I want. And what I want you to do is go ahead in your notebook that you have for our session today. I want you to number down the side of the pages. Go ahead and number 1 through 15. Go ahead and take a minute and do that. 1 through 15. So you have 15 lines all numbered. And what we're going to do is I'm going to have you write 15 affirmations. And ideally, as we're doing this every day, I would say whatever size journal you have, I would just fill up at least a full page of affirmations. And you could rewrite the same affirmation again and again. If you want to, you can write the same affirmation 15 times. You could write, I love myself 15 times. That will probably do great things. Actually, there's a book all about that habit or that affirmation. I don't know if anybody has read the book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. This guy I believe he was like suicidal, but he started just taking 3 minutes where he'd look at himself in the mirror and say out loud, I love myself. And his life completely changed. He became like very successful. I mean, now he's a successful author, but his life completely changed. It's a very interesting book, but it doesn't have to be 15 unique affirmations. If you want, there might be a handful of them that really resonate with you a lot, and you just rewrite them several times again and again, and it's going to make those thoughts deeper into your head. I love it. 25 times per day, every day for 30 days. Yeah. I think that's really good. So I do have some examples here. I am successful. I love my life. I improve the lives of everyone I meet. Later, we will be making some that are dedicated directly towards some goals, but you could have, maybe this is a target of yours. I'll earn $100,000 or more this year serving others and having fun. Or I'm full of energy. So do I have a timer on this page? Let's see here. I'm going to put a timer up here. Let's try 2 minutes. And let's see how we are. If in 2 minutes, I'll go back to our page here with the affirmation examples and go ahead and make your list of affirmations. And then we'll come on back. And you can put done in the chat once you're done also. I'm going to pause this. One other quick thought, sorry to interrupt you guys, but our journaling prompt this morning was, what were some things last year that you didn't do because of fears? And I would maybe try and make some affirmations that directly combat some of those fears that you had. For example, maybe you didn't go to the gym once last year because you were afraid of the judgments of others. You felt embarrassed because you're just starting to go to the gym. It's like, okay, maybe I'm going to write down an affirmation of, I love the gym, or I love my body exactly the way it is, right? What's something that could combat the fear that had held you back last year? So I'll start our timer again. All right, how was everyone there? It's like done, done, done. Once you're done, go ahead and put one of your affirmations here in the chat. I'm sure we can all benefit from seeing others, because probably lots of the things we're working on, other people are working on as well. I'm good enough. I like it. I'm loved. Very nice. Yeah, I'm more than enough. I'm a creative thinker. I have serenity. Nice. I have all I need to succeed. Very good. I'm healing and growing stronger. I like that, Eric. I love myself. I'm happy and feel great. I follow through on my commitments. Very good. I'm productive and successful. I'm saying no to things I don't want to do. Very good. Yeah, lots of people really need to learn that skill. I'm a gifted person. I'm improving every single day. I speak to people easily and confidently. Nice, Julius. How did you feel after writing 15 affirmations down? Do you feel another internal shift? Start to have a little more energy? Do you feel excited? I will take risks with gusto. Nice. Yeah, Al, I love it. I feel like whatever sheet you have, I'd just fill it up. You can do several sheets, but it's really powerful. More confident. Yeah, we're more confident. Wonderful. All right, so one of the main things I want you to realize is you're doing these mental exercises, right? We're going to have our journaling prompt, our affirmations, our dreaming exercise. Is our mindset isn't something that's just going to be a one-time fix, right? It's kind of like if you go to the gym, you don't just go to the gym once and leave jacked, right? And in shape. It's like you got to keep going there. You got to put in the reps and you're going to start to see improvements. And if you go there, eventually, you start to grow bigger muscles. But if you stop, they'll go away. I think a lot of times, as I've worked with people, seems kind of goofy, but I feel like sometimes these mindset exercises will, maybe you've heard people say, like, they work so well that you stop doing it. Work so well, you stop doing it. It's like your mindset gets to this place where you feel great, you feel confident, and it's like, oh, I don't need these loopy exercises Jason taught me anymore, right? And then you stop, and it slowly starts to deteriorate again, because really we need this every single day. I kind of think of it like, I shower every morning. I imagine most people do, right? And it's like I shower in the morning, and over the course of the day and at night, I get enough sweat or dirt that I shower again the next day. It's like you might get up in the morning and you take some time to dream, you write these affirmations, you journal, and you feel great. But by the end of the day, just the negativity of people around you or the stress of the day, it starts to wear on you. And it's like, we need to clear the slate again, right? Remind ourselves of our goals and do it again the next day, because we just got to keep putting in the reps. It's not just a one-time thing. I'm not using it. Yeah, Melissa, I'm sure you really saw that. Yeah, I broke my leg like when I was a kid, and it's crazy how much your muscles shrink. I'm sure 4 months is a long time to not be using it. So some next steps, last thing, and sorry, we might go a couple minutes over on time if you can make it, but so the main things we're going to be focusing on over the next 30 days, journaling and affirmations, or daily dreaming, and our accountability posts after you've done that. And I want you to ask yourself, when will you do these activities? We need a plan to make sure these happen. So I'm going to do another timer. I might just do 2 minutes, and I want you to answer these questions below here so you can start to make a plan to follow through on this. What time are you going to do these activities tomorrow? What time are you going to do it on a regular day? Is this something you're going to do in the morning, during your lunch break, in the evening, somewhere in the middle? But I want you to put it in there, and I would put it in your calendar as a reoccurring task, or set an alarm for it, right? If maybe you get up at 6 in the morning, but you're going to do this right after you eat and shower, and it's going to be 7:30, set an alarm for it so that at 7:30 goes off. It's like, oh yeah, I've got to take my 10 minutes to do these activities. Where are you going to do it at? Are you going to do it at home? Going to do it in your room? Going to do it down in your breakfast area? Are you going to need to make changes to get this fit in? How will you remind yourself to do this every day? Obviously, you're going to get the email from me, the Facebook post, but maybe you need to have some sort of visual reminder. Put a Post-it note on your bathroom mirror, right? Put it on the dash of your car. That's going to remind you to do this. And I want to make sure you have all of the dates for our next meetings, because if you can't make one of the live meetings, I would put still in your calendar, when are you going to watch the recording, right? These are going to be about an hour long. So if you can't make the live one, when are you going to watch the recording? Because we're going to be pulling lots of this stuff out of your head, and I want to be able to help you sort through it and structure it in a way that you can really build upon it and to make a good foundation to build on going into 2024. So let's do a quick timer here for 2 minutes, and you can start working on addressing these. Plus, I love the habit stacking. Yeah, you can build this into a habit that you're already doing. If you already get up and read in the morning, it's like, okay, well, let's add in the journaling. Yeah, Alaska. I don't know if we have anybody else from Alaska, but I'm glad it works out for you, Vanessa. That's for sure. I'll do a timer for 2 minutes. Yep, wonderful, Julius. Yeah, just watch recordings the next day. Jennifer, so what habit stacking is you're going to take a new habit you want to form and build it on top of a habit that you're already doing. So maybe if you want to start doing 10 push-ups every day, it's like, okay, I'm already in the habit of brushing my teeth in the morning. How about right when I brush my teeth, I just get down onto the bathroom floor and do my 10 push-ups then. So that way I'm not like creating this new habit entirely. I'm just stacking it on top of another habit I already have, if that makes sense. Yeah, Jennifer, I would say that Atomic Habits book is a phenomenal book. It's on growing habits. Love it, Al. Yep, sounds like a good plan. You got something in the morning and the evenings there. All right, most everybody good there? Got a plan of how you're gonna fit this into your life? Journaling, affirmations, daily dreaming, we're gonna do it at. Some little tips here for journaling. I think if journaling is more fun, you're more likely to follow through on it. Here, let's see, a couple questions. Post on FaceTime. That wants the free journal. Yep. Oh, we can do that. All right. I think it's fine, Valessa. I think it's fine to have both new journal prompts or repetitive ones. I think it's kind of like you might have some that really just fire you up, and you're going to want to rewrite them again and again. Maybe you rewrite the same one 10 times throughout the day, or all at once. But sometimes if you have the same journal prompt that you use again and again, sometimes it starts to turn more into a task or repetitive rather than something that really pulls on your emotions. And I would say if you've written an affirmation so many times that it starts to become an emotional experience and it's more just, I'm going to write this down on paper and go to the next thing, I would say add some creativity to it and create some new ones. But both are really good, because also saying the same thing again and again to yourself over and over in your head, it helps to go deeper into your subconscious mind. But if you look at the science behind affirmations, if there's not emotion paired with it, it doesn't really work as well. Some might even say it's not even completely worth doing if there's not emotion behind it. So if it starts to become more of a task, then come up with some new ones. Hopefully that helps there. But for journaling, I have a biased opinion towards journaling. I love journaling, right? I sell paper products for a living, but I do feel like it helps when I have a journal and a pen that I'm excited about. Before I got into my fountain pens, which I don't know if I have anybody else who's into fountain pens where you have the inks that you put in there, but even just gel pens or a journal that got me excited, it's like it just made journaling more fun and I would want to do it. Versus if all you have is just your normal regular pen, that's fine. But I think if you can, maybe treat yourself to go get a fountain or a gel pen that's $2 rather than a box of pens for $2, and a nice journal that you like, and it just makes it exciting to journal. So you can experiment with it if you feel like you're struggling to get yourself into that habit. It makes it fun, and figure out where you're going to go so that you can do it regularly. Yeah, Dan, you like the fountain pens. They're really fun. They're a fun hobby. But what I'd like you guys to do here is make your accountability post in the Facebook group. So you can go to where I posted the question for the day. You can just put in the comments there, did my activities, or check, whatever you want to put, something done, just whatever you want to do that says you did the 3 things. And also go ahead and make a post in there that shares what stood out to you most about today's workshop. All right, I know not everyone who's on this was able to make the call, so hopefully they can see it and get excited and really give them the push to take the time to watch this and really give the challenge that the attention that it needs to, because this can really be a game changer for you guys. And make sure you put into your calendar our next one, which will be January 18th, so 10 days from today at 5 p.m. Eastern time, which it is right now 5:08 Eastern time, if that helps you guys do the conversion there. How do you feel? The electronic tablet, Valessa, I think that's great. I think I would just experiment with what's going to work best for you. I know for me, I just love the pen and paper experience. I feel like when I write something down with a pen, I just remember it so much more. I remember, I wrote that at the top right of the page. I underlined it and I can find it. It just somehow goes deeper into my mind. But I would experiment with for yourself because everyone's a little bit different. Maybe you get a lot more out of typing it. You can experiment. But was this helpful for you guys today? Jennifer, yep, similar, you like to write. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm excited for these 30 days with you guys. Put your Facebook post in there and let me know if there's something else I can do to help. Excited for our next workshop. Yep. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your day.